Hello and welcome. My name is Candace Smith, and this is Duval Connect Magazine. I'm so excited about this evening's conversation. Just to let you know, I will be off camera tonight. Nevertheless, we have a lot to chat about. We're going to be once again reviewing some back to school events. I know there's been a lot that's happened. Hopefully, you all have gotten everything you needed for back to school. I did want to go over a hair raffle that's offered to the community. Going to go over a Jack's Food Pantries list, discuss early voting, and we have a special guest. Once again, we've been able to interview a few of the school board candidates. That election is getting ready to come in a couple of weeks now. So we'll be speaking with Terence Myers. He's going out for Duval County School Board District 2. So we'll be speaking with him this evening, and we'll be following up on a few stories that we've been following with JTA and JEA. And then we'll also be touching on the U.S. Senate race. So we have a lot to discuss tonight. Please like and share this video, like and share, and we'll be right back. Okay, so like I said, yeah, we got a lot to discuss tonight. I wanted to share about this hair raffle from Jewels of the Future. They're an organization there in Jacksonville that does a lot of community works. Last month, we talked about their nomination for the Aggie Awards. And so um, right now, they're getting ready to offer this back to school hair raffle. So, in the spirit of back to school, Jewels of the Future teamed up with Cuts, Lines, and Trims. They're giving away free haircuts and lock hairstyles to kids in Jacksonville for kindergarten to 12th grade. So, there are a few things they are asking you to do in order to enter into the raffle, and that's follow Jewels of the Future Inc. and Cuts, Lines, and Trims on Instagram. Sign up via the QR code that's right there, and then share it with your friends. So you have 2 more days to do that to qualify for that raffle. So yeah, the QR code is on the screen. I'll leave it up for a few seconds as I'm continuing to share the live out. So yeah, take advantage of that. I was, giving a shout out to a back to school effort that's here where I'm at in Pasco County, um, that offered hair, care back to school for the parents. That's a big deal for these kids to go back to school with their hair done and be able to have a fresh haircut that starts them off right. However, times are tough, you know, and everybody could use a little help. So this is an opportunity. You still have time to enter into this raffle that ends on August 7th. So you have 2 more days to enter into this. I'm trying to make sure I share everything out. Hope it's going out to everybody. So yeah. Um This is Jewels of the Future once again. Scan that QR code and enter to win this hair raffle. Let me know if you all can hear me too, if you all can hear me well. And please share out the video. Let me know what side of town you're on. Yep. So if you need this flyer, I can send it out to you. Just drop it down in the comment section. Let me know that you need it. I'll make sure that you get it. Put your email address down there. You can go into the inbox and just ask, say, hey, I need that flyer for the hair raffle. I'll send it to you. If you need more information as well, I'll make sure that you get that. So, yeah, shout out to Jewels of the Future Inc. Um, there are our latest cover persons, mother-daughter duo. It was great interviewing them and learning about the history of Jewels of the Future Inc. They've been around for close to 10 years now, doing a variety of things within the community, including providing community service such as cleaning up. They just did a cleanup at Lonnie C. Miller Park, which is one of the regular locations that they often go out and do those services. Their group, their organizations, the young ladies, they go out and clean up around the community in the areas that often don't get the attention it deserves. And so, shout out to them for continuing to provide that service to the community as well as instilling good qualities within young women, you know, showing them and introducing them to entrepreneurial skills and skills that will help them be successful in life. So, if you need that flyer, once again, let me know. I'll make sure that you get that. And yeah, so that's what's up. Now, like I said earlier, things are getting harder out here. Food prices are up, you know, minimum wage is up, but are the employers paying it? So they put together this list of food pantries in the area, their dates and times and locations where you can get there and make sure you get there on time so you can get the best quality of food. Some of the locations, there are appointments necessary. So, once again, if you need this list, I can email it to you. I can make sure that you get it, and as well as some additional resources in the community. We all need a little help every now and then. So if you're somebody out there that is in need of some food, don't go hungry. You don't have to. You do not have to. So I did run across this. Oh, this has already take place. I wonder if anybody has um, been to this virtual town hall. Did anyone attend this? This was put on by the NAACP. I ended up just seeing the flyer, but I guess it's already taken place. I don't know if anybody had an opportunity to go there, but if you have, I would love to know how it went, what information was given out. So, shout out to the NAACP in Jacksonville who offered this virtual town hall to make sure that we have correct and accurate voter information. So, speaking of voting, like I said, we have a special guest here tonight. I don't want to take up too much of his time, so I'm going to get ready to bring him up. His name is Terence Myers. He's running for School Board District 2. And so he has 18 years of experience across elementary, secondary, and adult education. His campaign focuses on providing greater support for teachers and students, particularly students with disabilities and exceptional student education ESC programs. Myers also believes school consolidation should be a last resort and has called for schools to remain politically neutral while highlighting successful schools across the district. So we're going to learn a little bit more about Terence Myers and his policies and uh, yeah, his plan of action for District 2. Hi and
Good
welcome.
evening. Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining. I'm so glad we finally got an opportunity to come together to speak. I apologize, I'm not on camera this evening. But nevertheless, I'm so glad you were able to make it up, you know.
Absolutely.
And you speaking of which, how is your mom? Because I have been meaning to ask you that.
My grandma, she's doing
Your
just fine.
grandma. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So, yes, I would just love to know what are your core educational values?
Well, I believe all students learn differently, and that because they learn differently, they still deserve the opportunity to receive the best and quality education possible. Uh, we have the law that says no child is left behind. I truly believe that to be a motivator in my philosophy, doing the best we can, doing whatever we can to make sure we are moving students forward.
Okay. So, I did see that do some things, especially for students with disabilities. And so, what are some things, challenges that you're seeing in that area?
In my current role as the dean of students, uh, this is it's the first time I've had a chance to really work closely with students with disabilities. Um, I'm at a school where uh, they have a unit called CSS where they house students with severe disabilities, learning disabilities, and physical disabilities. And I've never had the opportunity to work closely with those types of students. But since being within the last 4 years, since being at Curtin Middle School, I've had the opportunity to work um, closely with them and see some of the challenges that the students and the teachers, or students' challenges, students, teachers, and parents are facing. I've noticed that a lot of there's a lack of support coming from the district where staffing is a big issue because some of those students are uh, physically aggressive,
Mm.
so no fault of their own, but there needs to be appropriate and adequate staffing in those classrooms to be able to deal with the students when they have uh, times of crisis, um, things of that sort. So there's a breakdown in that particular area, especially with placing students in the right environment. Some students should be in different environments where uh, uh, an evaluation may say they may need to be here, but once we are looking at the student, working with them, it's clear that the evaluation was wrong, and they need to be placed in a better environment where they can get the best services, so that they can be supported and successful at the end of the day. That's the main goal at the end of the day, that we want all students, including students with disabilities, to be successful as they matriculate through their educational journey.
Right. Okay. I think it was either earlier this year, the later part of last year, we did speak with a parent. He was sort of speaking out at the school board meetings about his son's experience as being an ESC student and a student with a disability. And so he was mentioning about the appropriate amount of staff that's needed and the staff that's needed to handle the situations such as what you were speaking about when there is physical aggression and things like that. What are your suggestions or your plan of actions to address that?
Well, one thing, I can't say that happens at every school. Every school is different. Um, but one thing I would do is, and I've said it publicly, an overhaul needs to be done with the ESC program. We need to go in and take a look at what's working, what's not working, where the deficiencies are coming from, and then we work our way from there. I've also talked with district staff, district supervisory staff, and they state the same thing. There's not enough people to carry the caseload. Um, and as a parent with a student with disabilities myself, uh, I see there's a breakdown. It shouldn't take 3 4 months to have an IEP meeting when a student's coming into that process. So there's a lot of things that need to be looked at uh, when we're talking about the ESC services within the district. There are a lot of good things that happen, but then again, there are overall there's definitely needs to be a uh, some changes made, changes for the better.
Right. Okay. So I see, or it does seem like, your experience within the school system, and then as well, having children or having a child has maybe led you to seek this seat for District 2. Is there any other things that's led you to run for this seat for District 2?
Um, I've been all over the district. I've had a different view of the district because of the different positions I've been in. Yeah, I'm always talking to people in different roles, in and outside the district, and there's some breakdowns. There's some breakdowns that need to be fixed. Although as a board member, I'm just one vote, but I am very good at working with all different types of people in order to help affect positive change. Um, Listening to the amount of breakdowns is, I guess, a major contributing factor as to why I got into this race.
So, um, another thing that I was going to ask you was what, and within District 2, can you tell us what area that all includes?
District 2 covers it's called the Intracoastal West, and all of the beaches, including the Mayport area. The Intracoastal West would be, I guess, that Kernan Boulevard uh, it goes a little bit above Kernan Boulevard in certain areas. The line is not, it's kind of a S shape when it gets to that western side, but it go from JTB, the tip of where UNF is, um, down Kernan Boulevard to McCormick, down into Mayport area, all the beaches, and it goes to the county line, um, where Ponte Vedra and Jackson Beach meet.
Okay. So, what what schools, can you give a few examples of some of the schools that
You
would
have Kernan Trail Elementary, Landmark Middle School, Kernan Middle School, Fletcher High School, Fletcher Middle School, Fletcher, um, Alum County Elementary. Um, I don't have the list in front of me, but those are some of the main schools there. There's
that's
only one
good.
high
That
school
gave
in District 2.
good. Okay, that did give me a better picture of the area that you're covering. And so, Now, I was seeing where maybe you were speaking out against school consolidations. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it does boil down to dollars and cents. But I do believe that when we're looking at school consolidation, I think that that should be the very, very last resort, the last option. In many communities, the school is the the heart of the neighborhood, if I can say it that way. It's the mechanism that draws everybody in that community together. Why? Because all the students go to that school in that particular community. So when we're closing down schools, we want to make sure that we're not um, leaving a scar in these different neighborhoods and communities. Um, yes, we know that sometimes the buildings may be older. It may be fiscally uh, uh, better to uh, tear it down and rebuild. Those are realistic issues. So, but I only, I'm only in for consolidation only if there is no other means to go through. Uh,
Mhm.
Some schools have been consolidated, uh, two and three schools into one new school. That's not always the best because you have these large schools, large environments where it could be detrimental to students who are used to operating in a smaller environment.
Right.
Uh, which is a major concern to some parents. Most parents like smaller class sizes because that means that the students are going to get some one-on-one attention and help from that particular teacher. It's easier to learn with less people than it is with more people in the classroom. So these are key factors that need to be taken into consideration when we're looking at consolidating schools. But again, it still boils down to dollars and cents and what the budget says and how we're going to maximize on the best use of the taxpayer dollars. But at the end of the day, we need to take the students into consideration when we're making these types of decisions.
So, do you feel like in the past, when schools were consolidated, they were doing that more for budgets and things like that, or was there other considerations?
Well, from what I've read and seen and heard thus far is the major contributing factor was the budget.
Okay. So, when you go in there and you're on the board, and they're suggesting to consolidate the schools and things, what would you suggest as an alternative?
Well, again, making sure that we're maximizing on all the resources that we can use for that particular school, making sure that all students in that particular area or that go to that school or attending, because attendance makes attendance drives this whole thing. If there are no students going to school, then you can't justify keeping a school open if you don't have any bodies in the seats. So addressing the absenteeism in those different communities where those schools have been consolidated is the number one thing that has to happen. Uh, we have had a phenomenal truancy department, which has changed down through the years. But at one point in time, they had Duval County had a model truancy program that was well, it was a nationally recognized program, but that has since gone away due to changes in various leaderships. But addressing the absenteeism is one of the main things we need to do when we're looking at consolidation because nine times out of 10, one of the key factors is going to be there's not enough students to maintain um, that particular school being open.
Right, right. Okay. Well, I know that how we met was through the forum that was getting ready to take place, and I know that it already has. How did that go?
It went fine. Went fine. It's
Mhm.
always good to see the competition and hear what others have to say and think. Uh, every forum I've attended has been a learning experience and a great experience.
How do you feel as far as the reception from the community about your candidacy?
Well, I haven't got any negative vibes
Okay,
since I've gotten into the race. I got into it late, but since I've been in, I've gotten a lot of positive feedback.
good. Okay. Any upcoming? I did think I saw one, but I wasn't able to clip it in time, but I did share it to the page. What are some upcoming, meet the candidates or forums where people can come and attend?
Well, there is one for District 2. It's going to be hosted tomorrow night at the Community Presbyterian Church, Jacksonville Beach. I did post it onto my website, my pages, but it will be at 7 o'clock tomorrow night on Atlantic Beach. It's being hosted by the Beaches Watch. And you'll see the other two opponents for District 2 there, as well as myself.
Okay, all right. Well, I definitely will be keeping a close watch to this race, and any updates, that you have, any places where you'll be speaking, please feel free to share it to the page or share it with me, because I would like to make sure whatever opportunities are out there, people are aware of them and they can get a full understanding of the candidate and their policies and what they expect to bring to the seat.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Any additional information you want to share? Where can we find you?
I am on Facebook and Instagram uh, under Terence Myers for Duval County Public School Board. You can also go to my website at terencemyers.com with one R, and you'll find information there. My email address is info@terencemyers.com. And I just want to say I'm glad that very thankful that you had me on tonight. I do not take it lightly. I'm thankful for being able to be in this race. And I'm not just running because I've been a classroom teacher, or I'm not running off of my parents' career. Um, Although I've been a soldier, I've been on the battlefield, so I know how to uh, work with all types of people to get a mission accomplished. And the mission that we're working on is helping students be successful. And that's what's driving me to uh, win this election. Again, that election date is August 18th. Early voting starts this Friday. So that the absentee ballots have already gone out. So once you see my name, check yes. Vote for Terrence Myers.
Love it. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time, and I'll be in touch for a follow up.
Thank you so much.
Yay! My son taught me how to do that.
That's wonderful.
Yes, that was my first time using it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining.
All right. You have a good evening.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay, so that went well. I think this was our third interview with the candidates, and hopefully, we'll just continue to get more of them to come on, and then I'll have some follow-up blog posts going out to duvalconnect.blogspot.com. That's our blog where we continuously put out community news and we discuss community topics. So Shout out to Terence Myers for dropping in today and sharing about his policies and what he plans to bring to District 2. And so hopefully I can find some sort of illustration to put out that will show what locations each district covers. And that way you'll know, because that was, that gave me a good visual of the area, and then knowing what schools they're going to be covering. And then it seems like with each candidate, we kind of learn a little bit of what each of those areas are facing. What are their challenges? What are some things that's been taking place? And so, Terrence Myers ended up mentioning the consolidation of some of the schools, and, um, not having enough support for students with disabilities. And we've discussed that before. We've had a parent share their entire story, followed their journey to speaking with the school board, because that's usually the next place that parents go when they're feeling like, okay, there's a situation or my child is not placed correctly. The next step they go to is the school board. And I think what I do like about a lot of the candidates this go round is that a lot of them have that teacher background. So they can come in there knowing what the teacher is already facing, knowing what the schools is already facing. And then another bonus is having a child, facing some issues and challenges, and then you also can take that into consideration as you sit on the board. So, you know, yeah, I think this is going to be a tight race. There are a couple of candidates, as a matter of fact. See if I can find that visual that I had that was showing. Believe it's a few candidates for District 2, as a matter of fact. Don't know if I'm gonna still have it. Let me see if this is it. This is kind of gonna be an older slide too, because this was the form where that introduced me to the majority of the candidates. And so I started reaching out to them when I saw this, but these are the ones that I am familiar with. District 2, there are two people. We had Donna on last week. And then District 4, there's Rhodesia Butler, Dr. Gracie Bell, Kersey McAllister. I think I've posted a few things about the District 4 candidates on our page, but I did not hear back from them. For District 6, we got to interview Clarence James. He was the first one to come on, and we got a few clips as well posted on the page. I realized after reviewing last week's video that, okay, Donna did have an echo. I don't know if you all realized that. I couldn't hear it, but when I went to get some clips, I couldn't um post them. So what I'm working on is getting the transcript of the clips, and I'll post those. And I pray that there will be no issues with the clips from tonight, because I did enjoy the conversation with Terrence. I think I learned a lot, um, just about how he plans to run that district and how he plans to address the things that are going on. So that's kind of like what we want to be looking at. We want to know, okay, well, how are you going to address some of these things so we know ahead of time? So, parents that are sending your kids to school in District 2, you may want to do your due diligence, get some additional research, gather some questions, be thinking about what you faced the past couple of years. And are those things you want to see in this new school year? Or do you want to see some changes? And another thing I may end up following up on is, and I think I did forget to ask him, was advice that he can give to parents for their children to be successful. So that may be something that I end up including in the blog, because I think that's the goal of everyone, the administrators, the school board, the teachers, the faculty, the staff, the parents. We all just want our young people to be successful. We want them to be able to come to school, get a good education, have the facilities working and in order, have the children be safe, you know. So I don't think that's too much to ask for. So yeah, we'll be keeping up with this race. And as Terence said, August 18th, that is the voting date. And as he mentioned, early voting begins Friday. So once again, shout out to Terence Myers of candidate for Duval County School Board District 2. Yeah, that came out to chat with us, share about his candidacy. That was very enlightening. So I'm grateful for that as well. So yeah, we moving right along. We're doing good. I think we're doing really good. I want to get into some more civics conversations. There's been some things going on around the city with some of the major organizations that keep the city running, and that's JEA and JTA. And sometimes we don't realize it, but we play a big role just by living within the county. You play a big role in making a decision in how these organizations are operating. So there's been some things that's come out to light, that's come to light over the past couple of weeks. And yeah, I've been pretty shocked, to be honest. JTA CEO, next opportunity brings old questions back into the spotlight. So for years, questions surrounding Jacksonville Transportation Authority, JTA CEO Nathaniel P. for senior spending have been making headlines in Northeast Florida. So let me try to break this down. Excuse me. For those of you who do not know, JTA CEO is stepping down, and they're looking for a new CEO. But what ended up happening was, see, these people, they know when they're getting ready to transition. They know well before the public knows. And they begin to make their moves as far as what will my next move be, where will my next job be. And a lot of times they don't mind going into a whole other state, a whole other city to try to get a job similar to what they had. And so they come into a brand new place and saying to this city, all of the highlights of what they've done in the past and telling them what they're capable of doing for them. So Nat Ford ended up going out to Dallas, Texas, applying for a position within the transportation field there. And the media and news began to dig and research his past employment, which includes Jacksonville, Florida. And so in the midst of them doing that, they began to discover his spending habits and things that he's been doing around town that has been coming up for a while. The news, there was a big news story posted it on our YouTube page, and I believe on our Facebook as well. Might be on Instagram as well, but there were two news clips that I felt was really important because it broke down um, a lot of his past dealings with JA. And this is important because we don't understand that a lot of monies that could be going into sometimes better infrastructure for us, energy saving techniques that could be applied will go into the pockets of CEOs, will go into their budgets for travel. One of the things mentioned about him was how often he was not even in Jacksonville. Out of the month, they were breaking down, up to 2 weeks, he's not even in Jacksonville. He could possibly be out of the country, not just even out of the state of Florida at any particular time. And he was doing a lot of this traveling, being on boards and speaking. And Jacksonville was paying for that. Was fitting the bill for that and continues to do that. And so where we can begin to make a change is by coming down to city council while they're in the midst of selecting the next CEO. Begin to let them know, like, hey, we don't care for all of this money going towards travel and things unless you can directly show how this is benefiting or saving money or cutting costs for travel. People were even speaking about some of his initiatives within the transportation around Jacksonville, how a lot of money was spent for these maybe driverless cars and driverless transportation system that was initiated. They didn't care for that. They didn't care for it. They didn't want it. Want to see if my video has uploaded. It looks like it has. So maybe we can watch this clip. Let me see how long it's going to take. It is right long, so prepare your hearts and minds. I'll give that a few more minutes to download. Yeah, so the search for a new leader at Jacksonville Transportation Authority has taken an unexpected turn as outgoing CEO Nathaniel Ford becomes a finalist for a top transportation job in Texas. Media outlets there are revisiting years of spending controversies that first surfaced here in Jacksonville. Was this information widely known by local residents? Were enough questions asked about how public money was spent? I don't believe so. I don't believe so at all. After announcing his resignation following more than 13 years at JTA, Ford is now a finalist to lead Dallas area back transit in Texas. But before any decision is made, Texas media and transit officials are taking a closer look at spending controversies that made headlines right here in Jacksonville. Investigations over the past several years question travel expenses, hotel stays, and other purchases made with public funds. While Ford has defended those expenditures as legitimate business expenses, the controversy has sparked ongoing debate about transparency, oversight, and accountability. So this isn't about just one person leaving a job. It's about who will oversee billions of dollars in transportation investments, future projects. Let's ride workforce mobility, and how people get to work, to medical appointments and community events. So, what qualities should Jacksonville's next JTA CEO have? Should they have strong financial management, public transportation experience, community engagement, transparency, and accountability? What are some qualities that you feel like they should have? And should the interim CEO, should they come from inside JTA, or should the board have looked outside the organization? In my opinion, I feel like it should come from within. It's too many times that I feel like money is wasted sometimes on bringing people in from other places because they may need 1 or 2 years just to get acclimated to the society of that city and to have an understanding of how it's run. So does public transportation affect any one of you? Does it affect your access to employment? Does it affect how you get to school or your appointments? Let's see here. I think my video has finally downloaded.
New leader at Jacksonville Transportation Authority has taken an unexpected turn. As outgoing CEO Nathaniel Ford becomes a finalist for a top transportation job in Texas, media outlets there are revisiting years of spending controversies that first surfaced here in Jacksonville.
Matt Ford, the CEO of the city's Transportation Authority. He's in charge of buses, the ever unpopular Skyway, and St. John's River Ferry. But when it comes to doing business, records show the executive rarely, if ever, uses any of them. But he is a frequent flyer. And while Ford jet sets, an Action News Jax investigation found that locals are using public transportation less and less often too. We pulled the numbers. According to the American Public Transportation Association, ridership is down almost half since the pandemic. And JTA's numbers show the agency sometimes fails to meet its own on-time standards. And while ridership dwindles, Action News Jax found the man in charge is often missing too.
Was this information widely known by local residents? Were enough questions asked about how public money was spent? And what does accountability look like when public officials move on?
Sit-down interview to talk about his travel.
Look like when public officials move on to new positions.
Ford's travel records. Since 2016, Action News Jax investigates found Ford took 140 trips on the public dollar. He's spent more than $40,000 just on DC travel alone. And he doesn't only jet set to domestic locales. He's stamped his passport at least a dozen times, hitting Berlin, Barcelona, and London just this year. All those miles add up to more than $189,000, a bill footed by you, the taxpayer.
Investigations over the past several years.
That number? That's a lot of money for just you traveling. And what are you traveling for? Where are you going? Is this? How are you going to these other countries benefiting the transportation system in Jacksonville, Florida? And I recall watching another interview maybe in here later where they caught up with him. And he really didn't have an answer. He was saying, yeah, where I go, everything I do benefits the, getting the transportation system here in Jacksonville better. But how? Can you really show that?
Questioned travel expenses, hotel stays, and other purchases made with public funds. While Ford has defended those expenditures as legitimate business expenses, the controversy has sparked ongoing debate about transparency, oversight, and accountability.
I'm not for it.
We asked Ford for a sit-down interview to talk about his travel. He declined, so we caught up with him at a press conference.
We want to talk to you about your travel. Can you explain why you're out of town so frequently?
Well, I don't know if so frequently is the way to describe it.
But not counting personal vacation or holidays, we found Ford is out of town an average of twice a month for multiple days each time. Records show most of the travel is to conferences, the rest somehow transit-related. Even a JTA spokesperson says the Conference of Mayors or the sister city's delegation to Johannesburg, South Africa.
I'm a high energy individual, so in addition to the travel and I'd say the national associations I'm leading, I'm sitting at the table with those decision makers and those influencers that are making policy decisions around transportation.
And we found he is being paid well to do that. In addition to his $189,000 travel tab, Ford makes almost $460,000 a year. That's more than President Joe Biden makes, and significantly more than the top transportation executives in Chicago and New York City make, two of the largest public transit systems in the U.S. And that doesn't even include his upcoming yearly bonus of almost $92,000 or his annual cost of living adjustment set to be at least $13,000 on top of that, or his $50,000 a year deferred compensation, or his $1,000 a month allowance for his personal vehicle.
I'm doing everything within my power, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to support the citizens in this community, and that record is pretty clear and evident.
Except with ridership down, questionable on-time rates, and more than generous spending on executive travel, we still had questions, and Ford didn't want to answer them.
The Emerald Trail Community Service. No, well, this is important. This is important, though.
But I think I've got other
But ridership is down. Ridership has not recovered from the pandemic.
I'm going to take additional questions if you have to me. We have to let these other gentlemen have their time. We don't have a limited amount of time.
Hey, cool, lower. Yeah, but she like ridership is down. You know, you're supposed to come in and increase that. There is a need for public transportation in Jacksonville, Florida. In a city like Jacksonville, public transportation is a must. Everyone cannot afford to have a car and afford gas and things like that. And public transportation used to be the next best thing for somebody to continue working, to continue functioning around the city that's expanded the way that Jacksonville is. It's very large, land mass wise. So public transportation is something needed. You may live on the west side and have some sort of important appointment all the way on the south side. And that requires traveling quite a distance through, you know, possibly expressways and things like that. So, you know, for ridership to be down, that's not a positive thing. That means that people either can't afford it or it's not reliable enough for them. It's too inconvenient.
And that is where our interview ended.
I've been digging into JTA since June, but over the weekend, the agency came back with data saying that ridership this year is about 12% higher than last year. And that's true. Last year was down almost 47% from pre-pandemic numbers. This year, it's only down 43%. In the meantime, Mr. Ford's contract states that he, quote, shall perform his duties primarily in Jacksonville. But so far this year, he's taken 20 trips out of town. So considering his busy travel schedule, we wanted to know how often he's actually in the office. So last Monday, we requested his badge access history for this year. We're still waiting on that. But coming up next, we'll address Mr. Ford's claim that his travel is to lobby for JTA. So tomorrow at 6 p.m., I'll look into the ethics and the potential redundant spending associated with that.
We'll recap Ford's 13-year tenure at JTA.
Yep. So, no. When I learned about this, I was like, man, they playing in people's face for sure. And it's not even a reason for that. There's no reason for it to be playing in people's face like spinning. Like they're not even being serious anymore if you're doing that. They're not serious, nobody should take you serious if you're doing it. So I'm gonna keep an eye on it. So just to see if I did some sort of update. I think the next thing that they're doing is decide what you see. But as they're doing this, all these new concepts. And I think it's like for a reason, it's for us to evaluate things and what condition recently, I did share, I don't know if I can find it again. But I did share this one, so I'm going to ATA. They're all around saying still be going. They're going to the opinions of so we're having these committees coming fair and service changes. And so this was the July date, so there were some August dates, and you can visit the JTA page, which is right. See that means. I know it was kind of a while ago. The last one they posted was July 20th. Somebody, as well. Maybe only in July. So they started. They had the public hearing on July. I posted about this idea like everybody want to show up. You want to show up and want to share how it's impacting, the services that the city is providing that our taxpayer dollars are paying for. Are they working for you? At that time, and we can go to those meetings to say, the bus is not on time. That's the time to say the seats are not correct, or I don't feel safe, or there's not a near bus location for me. I need to get to that's something to go to them about and let them know. So I'll be following on with that to see how it goes. Thank you, Janine. Be here every Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Here. I hope we have something to share. Okay. Check it out real quick. Okay, I'm going to answer the question about okay, be successful during this time. Okay, so let me see. Here, I'm going to blog post that we got I end up doing that. So I definitely appreciate Terence Myers, who was our special guest for this evening, and he came in to put out his candidacy for Duval County School Board. But to have that conversation, we got some clips of next ladies like that. So that piece, let's start. Candidacy. So, all right, you guys. I was supposed to have up for it. So just y'all should see it. I work very hard. But we don't. I want to go over this. It's a lot. It's a lot going on, and some people don't know because these companies are taxpayer dollars. So that company, which is the utility company, Jacksonville, is governed by the city council. So they have this agreement, and so those meetings are public. And usually, on the agenda, if it's regarding budgets, if it's regarding cuts, when people pay raises, when employees pay, and decisions are being made with to be in on that. And the city council is built up of people that represent districts for revenue. And so you're the person that city council. You're the right. It's like, it does work style. I'm also going to brain that is going to do that. It's going to eat up my battery on my laptop. So sorry about that, y'all, but I wanted to cut off. I've been doing good. StreamYard has been doing well for me this evening. But JA is under the microscope. This is what you all need to know for years. Jacksonville residents have watched JA make headlines for controversies involving leadership, transparency, and public trust. Many people remember the attempted sale of JA that resulted in a federal criminal investigation and convictions involving former executives. Today, a new chapter is unfolding. And JA, what is going on? Oh, wow. No bill has been lowered. No price cut. It's on the bills. I will, because I see people talk about that. People are really having a hard time keeping their electric bill paid. That's serious. All the while, it's been all of this funny business going on. All of this extra spending. All of this hostile work environment. So here's the deal. Over the past several months, JA has been under increased scrutiny from the Jacksonville City Council and other oversight bodies. The issues being examined include allegations of a toxic workplace culture, concerns about governance, and questions over uncollected utility capacity fees. that city council auditors estimate the total as much as $75 million over more than 2 decades, y'all. 2 decades. JEA's own estimate is significantly lower, and officials say the difference is due to different accounting methods. Last week, JEA CEO Vicky Cavey began an extended leave of absence. Oh, I messed up right there. JEA says the leave is not performance related, and Chief Administrative Officer Jody Brooks has been appointed interim CEO under the utility succession plan. Meanwhile, City Council committees continue reviewing the findings and discussing oversight of what does that say? Oh, I can't see the rest of it because my thing's scrolling. Nevertheless, let me slow down here really quick. You know, I'm ready to get into this because it's a lot going on. Okay, it's a lot going on. And I do have a few videos I want to share because I did find a few news reports that really broke down what was going on within this. So I do want to share that. I've had time to download it, so it should be ready. So please adjust your volume.
Deserves answers. For years, JEA has faced controversy from the failed privatization effort that led to federal prosecutions to new concerns surrounding leadership, workplace culture, and public accountability. Now, JEA's CEO has taken an unexpected leave of absence while a Jacksonville City Council investigative committee continues examining allegations of a toxic workplace, disputed capacity fees, and employee.
CEO under intense questioning as Jacksonville's Special Investigative Committee continued its probe into the utility.
Can you understand the perception that causes when you're hiring people without going through a process and giving other people a chance?
I'll just tell you that it's the prerogative of the CEO to pick their team, and it always has been, and it's been done routinely in the past as well. I'm not the first.
JEA CEO Vicky Cavey asked about allegations of a toxic workplace culture, claims of racism, and millions of dollars in disputed capacity fees.
News for Jack's anchor Tarek Miner attended today's hearing. He's joining us live in studio tonight with new insight and Tarek, Cavey's response.
Yeah, you know, there were some pretty contentious moments in this meeting as well today between council members who've worked together for years. All this as JEA CEO was questioned for more than 2 hours today.
Please, Mr. Carlucci, you're not recognized. And I wish you'd quit your banging and everything. I told you when I would recognize you.
I told you when I would recognize you. Oh my Lord, it's getting heated in those meetings. It's getting heated because, you know, one thing about it, you get away for a little bit of time, but there's going to be a paper trail, and it will catch up with you. So that's what seems to be happening. It seems that there's been a long while that some people have been able to, with the system, they've been able to keep their hand in the cookie jar, and now investigations have started. And these investigations are long, they're tedious, but there will be some ramifications. You know, there's already been other past investigations that's led to jail time because this is serious. You cannot play with the community's resources. And that's what the city council is there for. They're there to provide that oversight and make sure that the money is going towards bettering and providing a better quality of life for the people living the city, making sure that they aren't rolling blackouts that our grid continues to run great. That is not something that's impossible that our grid can go down. The past 20 years, that all of this money has gone to the pockets of other people, it could have been going into the infrastructure and ensuring that our power grid doesn't go down.
Decorum.
Council members Matt Carlucci and Rory Diamond clash over the questioning of JEA CEO Vicky Cavey during the special investigation meeting. At the center of this dispute, a question Diamond asked Cavey about the Ballard lobbying firm and whether political pressure could be contributing to the allegations of a toxic work environment. Lawyers explain that topic is off limits.
Beyond being beyond the charge question, the other issue is this particular contract is the subject of a criminal investigation by the statewide prosecutor and the state attorney. The agency does not know if it is the subject. Extremely sensitive area.
Committee members also pressed JEA CEO Vicky Cavey about how she was appointed to the role and about her leadership style, asking whether she ever converted President Trump's campaign slogan into a slogan for JEA.
Were you ever in a meeting and you said, make JEA great again? I know you've heard this before, but did you know that because you said that it was hurtful to some of the African American staff that was in that meeting?
I don't recall a meeting saying that.
Cavey testified that she does not understand why that phrase could be considered controversial, saying earlier in her testimony that she first became aware of workplace culture allegations from a news report where Kevin Carrico made the allegation. Council members say Cavey responded, "I don't recall," to more than a dozen questions, frustrating council members like Pittman.
And for you not to know some of these questions, I just felt I just didn't even want to ask anymore because of what I heard here today.
JEA's Assistant General.
And that does look suspicious. The fact that you can't answer the basics of questions about the work environment, you know, the environment that you foster, that you create. You don't know how it is, you don't know. And judging by the responses that she was given during that time, she was, you know, really snarky, and you have to know that the buck stops at you. It stops at you when there are suggestions of hostile environment. But they did, and so you know, at this point, the rest of the video is available on YouTube, and I think there's another clip in there that goes into a little bit more detail of how they plan to replace the current CEO. And they're talking about spending additional money just to find another person. And I mean, not a couple of bucks. Hundreds of thousands of dollars to work with the agency to find the next CEO for that, for JEA. So it's really disappointing, you know, that all this is taking place. And to learn that so much money has been mishandled within both of these organizations, within both of these companies, JEA and JTA. It's been very disappointing. You know, and not enough is being said about it, in my opinion, because, you know, we look at how things are run and we say, why is this like this and why is that like that? Then you hear, you know, people within the council discussing budgets, and then you hear people complaining about their light bills and the rate of getting on the bus, and it's like something's missing. And what's missing is all the money being stolen. basically, and being misused, whether it's through flights and hotel stays or just, Trump giving up these trumped up fees that you just come up with and then pocket for yourself, contracts that, there's a conflict of interest for you to be involved in. And these people are supposed to be operating at the highest level of integrity because they're supposed to be understanding that they have a whole community of people expecting them to be that way, expecting them to be someone that can be trusted with that power and with that position. And so, things don't have to be scandalous in such a way for us to say it's not right and to do something about it. And I feel like a lot of times we got so desensitized where things have to be very salacious before you recognize the harm that it's doing and that it's causing. So we'll be following that and giving you an update on the next thing concerning that. So our last topic of the night, y'all just U.S. Senate race. It's gotten and it's getting thick. I believe that as we get closer and closer to this election day, a lot of things are gonna be transpiring in this way. It could get ugly, So over the past couple of weeks, U.S. Senate candidate Angie Nixon has been in the news back to back, dealing with some things. And so online there was some things that went down. So I want to go over that and talk about that a little bit. Before I do, so I do want to share a little bit about what the U.S. Senate does. They represent the entire state. They serve 6-year terms. They vote on federal laws, confirm federal judges and cabinet nominees, approve treaties, help oversee federal agencies, and they work on issues like national defense, healthcare, immigration, taxes, social security, veterans affairs, and federal spending. So right now, Florida is represented by Ashley Moody. She was appointed in 2025, and now she's running for election. It's also represented by Rick Scott. So some criticism that's come up for this current administration has been affordable housing, homeowners insurance, health care access, reproductive rights, environmental protection, public education, and federal spending priorities. So that's been some of the criticism regarding the current administration. And, affordable housing is there. And y'all know Florida's homeowners insurance, it needs work, healthcare. So these are things that we're hoping the new candidates would come in and discuss. And I must say, I've seen Angie Nixon address these things. I've read her plan of actions and listened to her speak about affordable housing, about Florida's health care and homeowners insurance. She's addressed these things. I don't know, but I will say I've not heard Alex Bennett speak on these things at all. So there's been a few things that they've run head about, and one of those things is the issue. So Representative Angie Nixon publicly accepted invitations to participate in Democratic primary debates. Reporting from the Florida Phoenix stated that at the time, Alex Vindman's campaign was not ready to commit to debating her. More recent reporting indicates Vindman has continued focusing his campaign messaging on the general election rather than engaging Nixon directly. Why? You didn't know? One of the biggest discussion points among Democratic voters has been whether candidates should debate before the primary. Andrew Nixon has accepted the debate invitation, while Alex Vindman has not committed to participating. So this stirred up a lot of controversy. You know, a lot of people feel like, you know, he has done this as some sort of power move to make it seem like, oh, she doesn't even count enough for me to vote for her, or not vote for her, but debate her, or debate with her, you know. And I think because another thing that's come up has been the amount of money they both have and receiving donations, and Vindman's donation has been exceptionally larger than Nixon's. However, I mean, when you look at the poll numbers, which is another topic of discussion around them, Nixon is not that far behind when it comes to that, you know. So a recent UNF public opinion poll reported Ashley Moody led Andrew Nixon by about 8 points, and then led Alex Vindman by about 10 points. So that means Nixon actually performed slightly better against Moody in that survey. Other political analysis have highlighted the same finding. So although Vindman has raised substantially more money, recent polling suggests Andrew Nixon is performing competitively and in at least one major poll slightly stronger in a hypothetical matchup against Ashley Moody. Now, when it comes to the fundraising, Alex Vindman has raised significantly more campaign money than Andrew Nixon. Federal campaign finance reports and election trackers show Vindman with several $1 million more in fundraising and cash on hand than Nixon. So, however, we see those poll numbers. Now, on social media, there was some controversy in regards to Alex Vindman's wife. She's up here on the screen in a little circle thingy. And so there was some commentary and videos discussing allegations that Rachel Vindman posted comments criticizing Angie Nixon's event attendance, her clothing, her shoes, and her character before deleting the post. So it said something to the effect of, you know, if you're going to be talk, if only 20 or so people being at your event get you talking about us, you know, I guess trying to point out, oh, there's only a couple of handful of people at your event. You know, maybe that's why you're speaking about us or whatever. But I think when Angie's mentioning her opponent, she's mentioning the fact that she's not, he has not accepted a debate with him, with her, that he's not addressing the same issues that she's addressing, the issues that people want to hear addressed. She's pointing out that she's in the community, meeting the people face to face, and he's going to political dinners. I've seen and heard her mention that several times, and I don't see anything wrong with pointing out the lack within your opponent. You know, in case people were fooled by money, an association, she's pointing out the fact that, hey, he won't even debate me on the issues. Hey, you know, he's not even out here shaking hands with people. He's at these high-paid donor dinners where they really truly feel like the power is at. You know, he's not even addressing these particular issues. I'm addressing everything. So I don't feel like there's anything wrong with that, but I think that his wife took issue with that, and instead of encouraging her husband to address it, you know, she chose to take some digs about the attendance of a few of her meetings. So y'all is getting big out here, seriously. You know, so why do you feel like Alex Bendon won't debate Andrew Nixon? Should candidates debate each other before a primary election? Even if one candidate is leading in fundraising or endorsements? And do you think campaign money or community engagement is more important when choosing a candidate? So what's more important to you? Or say space, raising campaign money, policy positions, debate performance? What are your thoughts? So Florida's Democratic primary is more than just choosing a nominee. It's an opportunity that allows voters within a political party to decide who will represent that party in the general election. These races often shape the future direction of the party itself. Voters should evaluate candidates based on more than campaign advertisements. Consider attending forums, watching interviews, reviewing campaign finance reports, reading policy positions, and comparing each candidate's record and experience. Whether someone supports Andrew Nixon, Alex Bendon, or another candidate, an informed voter strengthens democracy. Healthy debate, respectful discussion, and participation are all important parts of the election process. So, yeah, I guess I see how this ends up playing out. I did have this video that kind of broke down. I hope it's going to allow me to play it. What really happened? I hope this is it. So we'll see if this is going to play in a few minutes too. Upload. But there was this content creator who created a video or some type of animated visual that kind of broke down the situation. So I thought I'd play that to maybe help give a better understanding of how this all played out. So give me a second, it's done.
Ford gave his farewell address. New tonight, a major shakeup at the top of the city's public transportation system.
Oh, sorry, y'all. I guess I did. I thought that I ended up uploading it. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Maybe I didn't. I guess I didn't download it. But I'll make sure to share it to the page between tonight and tomorrow. Yeah, I'll make sure to share it. Yeah, but nevertheless, I want to thank you for joining this evening. Thank you for joining live. Shout out to Terence Myers, who's running for school board for District 2. came in and interviewed with us and gave us some information on his policies. Here's some places where you can follow Duval Connect magazine and keep up to date with the stories that we're talking about. We have blog, duvalconnect.blogspot.com, where we post community news and stories, and then you subscribe to the magazine for free digital copies and discount on the printed copies. So $2 a month, patreon.com/QCP. Connect Publishing, and subscribe that helps support the magazine. You can also email duvalconnect2020@gmail.com if you have events out there that you would like for us to share and discuss. Email duvalconnect2020@gmail.com. Yeah, so those are ways to keep up with us and support. So I appreciate it. I'll see you all next week. I hope y'all have a great rest of your evening.